welcome everyone to our Ask Me Anything session. We're going to talk about After Effects today. For those who are new to video editing, welcome. For those who have always been in video editing, whether you're in Final Cut Pro or Premiere, and you were kind of wondering like, how can you kind of boost up your look? This is going to be fun because a lot of the things that we don't normally get to do in a standard news operation, unless you had sweeps or some type of special projects, maybe we can talk about those today. We have two guests. One will be a little late, but we're going to start with Mr. Justin Gladden because he's right here. He's right on time. There you go.
Hey.
Hey. And you know what? We'll probably have people come in and out. Folks' comfort level of on camera versus off camera is always, here and there. But I'm going to make sure I allow for screen sharing just in case. So, oops. I want to say multiple. Yes. So at any given time, while we do have two experts, I often find that people on the line are also experts in themselves, and they might sometimes want to share something as well. So very open conversation. I want to see some of the cool tricks that, Justin and Arielle already know how to do. I'm going to give Justin a chance to introduce yourself, give Arielle a chance to breathe, and then have her also introduce herself. And then we're going to just start talking about what are some of the tips and tricks that you guys have learned along the way that you can share with us little folks? So Justin,
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hey everybody, I'm Justin Gladden. I am a filmmaker in Baltimore. And like I'm sure everyone that learns a new skill, I learned After Effects just by necessity. And I started off the same way using templates. And usually, as I tell students, I've taught for a number of years, and I always tell them, start with the templates, then pull them apart and see how it works, and you'll be able to move on and go from there. So that's what happened. Oh yeah, and right now I work for a number of different companies, but primarily I work for a healthcare company called Core Life, making commercials and promos for them.
Okay, cool. And hopefully one day I'll have that level of confidence. I do. I built one lower third and I cried, and I said, I'm not doing this ever again in life. So maybe you can help my confidence build up. Arielle, jump on in. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Can we get who you are and, your extent when it comes to video editing?
Hi, I'm Arielle. I am currently working for the Times on the visual investigations team, helping to do their graphics. I previously worked for Quartz and the Wall Street Journal, so I've always done graphics within journalism. I learned After Effects in school. It's kind of a weird situation. They got rid of my major while I was in it. And I had to figure out what my capstone classes would be. And nobody really knew how to use After Effects, and the science department needed this video suitable for kids. So I did a thing about aphids and their gut bacteria. I don't know. It was very strange. It was 5 minutes long. I had no idea what I was doing. There were tears, but I learned it pretty extensively at that point. And because of that trial by fire, I ended up in this career path. So
was it like a YouTube university thing, or how did you learn this?
Lynda.com tutorials and also YouTube. But I had a lot of experience with the rest of the creative suite. I just didn't know how to use After Effects. So it was more of a I'm going to build something in Illustrator and then drop it in After Effects and do a couple of movements. It is not a good video. I would just it's, the first things that you make, they're not going to be good. It's really difficult. It's kind of a very steep learning curve, but once you have it, it's great.
Okay. I'm a big fan of all Adobe products because they talk to each other. So once I decide to create something in Photoshop, say a lower third that doesn't do any movement or anything like that, and we got to change their name or their title, I just love the whole working with each other thing. I don't remember having that flexibility with Final Cut, but I might be wrong. It's been about a good 8 years since I played with Final Cut. So let's jump into it. You guys, if you can do a little bit of a show and tell. Doesn't mean you have to explain how you broke down everything, but I would love to just have you guys flex on them a little bit. So if you can kind of show something that you've done We're going to go in the same direction. So Justin, I have the ability to share screen if you like.
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Your health. It's important to you. It's important to us. And that's why CoreLife's comprehensive approach to healthcare has proven results. Now we're tackling modern-day challenges with adaptable technology through our CoreLife mobile app and remote patient monitoring. People who use the app are 86% more successful in their weight loss journey. RPM allows you to stay connected to your care team, get encouragement, and improve your health wherever you are. Keep track of your weight, BMI, blood pressure, blood glucose, hydration levels, and physical activity. Message your care team between visits for additional support and get the answers to your pressing health questions. CoreLife's care team monitors your vitals through the app to provide real-time intervention and adjustments to your care plan, empowering you to meet your goals. Elevate your journey. Talk to your local CoreLife team and sign up today.
So, from scratch or templates?
That was mostly from scratch.
Okay.
Some of the icons you saw up there, like the little things popping up on the screen, were definitely taken from Creative Commons, or I traced them from somebody else's work because they had something else there and I didn't need it, so I traced it myself. Or a screenshot, like a lot of the phone icons you saw there. I just took a screenshot of my phone, dumped it into Illustrator, and
it looked cartoonish though.
Yeah, they wanted it that way. So they wanted it to be definitely an animation. So it wasn't like my hand was the hand that was used, but I took the home screen and just cut out all the apps and just made them all blank gray squares, except for the CoreLife app and the little icon there. But,
okay, one sec, hold up. Let me pull that guy back up. Hold up. Okay, this is your screen?
Well, yep, that's the actual screens themselves were screenshots of the app.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I'm just flipping through, and I think there's dumb stuff in there, like I ate Scrapple this morning because it was just what I was journaling that day.
And let's see what else. Dumb question. When it comes to moving, like a lot of this stuff is like pretty much I could tell either like I guess a key point or something.
Yep, keyframe. Yep.
Keyframing. Okay, so can you explain how this works? Again, I'm gonna be the embarrassed person that doesn't really know how all this stuff works.
No, it's fantastic.
But like to see things. Wait a minute. When were they moving? Yeah, like they're like zooming at a diagonal from your middle point here.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you like doing those reveals? Because I am not going to lie, and act like I would not have just did wipe transitions in Premiere Pro and made that happen. That's all
gotcha.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So how do you make that happen?
So if anyone else hopefully is familiar with the rest of the Adobe applications, After Effects kind of works like Photoshop, Illustrator, and a little bit of Premiere Pro put together. So everything there is on a different layer. And of course, if something's bigger than the other object, it's going to hide that layer. So if that phone wasn't there, you would just see all those icons stacked up on top of each other. And then I just say at this time frame, let's say, I forget, of course, I don't know what time frame it is, but let's say at 3 seconds, I want those dumbbells to be behind the phone. And then at 3 seconds and 15 frames, I want it to be over here in this location. And then once you add your 2 keyframes, you can technically move those dumbbells wherever you want, and it's going to just animate that for you. And I just do that for all 6 of those objects.
So is it like, you know how if you did like a PowerPoint and you could put like when you wanted bullets to reveal? Right. Is that similar-ish?
It's kind of like that, but if it's actually easier to understand it more like in Premiere. So in Premiere, when you want one clip to start, the keyframes in After Effects kind of work that same way. Like I want this object to be here at this point at 3 seconds, and then here at this point at 3 seconds and 15 frames or whatever.
How did you learn how to do this? Was this all like in college, like she was mentioning earlier? Like
it was mostly trial and error. I actually started out with Final Cut, and I learned a lot about just basic animation from a job that I never got paid for, and the people hated me for it. But I actually learned a lot about motion first. And back then, motion and Final Cut talked to each other, and motion was pretty good. But then after a while, they just stopped being good, and I had a job that used Premiere and After Effects, and I had to learn After Effects. So I just kind of transitioned into After Effects, and you know, the more projects I did, the more clients I got that needed it, the more templates I pulled apart, the more I learned how to do all these.
And how long did a project like this take you just to cut the video part? Yeah.
Sure. This one probably took me about 4 days worth of work, but probably another 3 weeks worth of just making sure they, you know, all the other things that go along with it, like the text there, people who use the, you know, them verifying which text could be used and getting the voiceover talent for it. And probably most of it was just pulling together all these different elements, and then another couple of days was spent just making sure it timed out right with what the person's saying. So
yeah, I'm impressed primarily because I buy all of these. I don't know how to build these from scratch. And I had members ask me, like, we want to do a workshop on After Effects. I'm like, how many of you even cut video? Like, are we really going to have people show up for this? And frankly, to what extent are you trying to do it? Because a regular newsroom is like, Lance can tell you, cuts.
Right.
You know, you're lucky if you get a fancy transition here and there.
Right.
You have to wait for November to do anything fancy.
Right.
Anything fun. Like, that's why I love what I'm doing now, because I'm doing this every time I pick up a new project. I'm trying to give them like some more razzle dazzle. Like, I want to have fun with it. But same token, I'm like, and I got that account from Motion Array for a reason, because I can't do this stuff. I want to jump into Arielle. Are you able to share your screen? Let me stop sharing, guys. Hold on.
Yeah, so
okay.
I can show you something that I'm working on now for the Times. I'm building templates for editors to use in Premiere, so they can get like some of the styling that the graphics people use in their projects. And I'll kind of show you kind of what happens under the hood in After Effects. Can you guys see it?
Yep, I'm already intimidated.
Okay. It's like not that complicated, I promise. So Adobe has these new things that everybody calls Mogurts, and it's MOGRTS, and that's like motion graphics templates. It's what it stands for. It's like .MOGRT for the file type. And it's essentially this type of file that will move from After Effects to Premiere. So this is like a very simple label. The VI palette is, let me turn some of all this other stuff off. The VI palette is like very, very scaled back, but like there's a background. Everything is in like New York Times font in bold and in all caps, right? So the only keyframes I have are here. And notice this is 5 seconds here, 0 seconds here.
How do you put those in?
Keyframes?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it'll be easier in this one. Under all of these layers, you have all of these things that you can customize and change.
Yeah.
Anchor point, position, scale, rotation, opacity, right? So their default are these numbers here. If I wanted to add something to it, I click the little stopwatch. That's adding a keyframe. Okay. And so that means at this time in the timeline, this is set to 0 rotation. And then let's say that I want it to spin 180 degrees. So I'm going to 2 seconds here, and I'm going to go ahead and type in 180 degrees. We're not actually looking at this text right now for reasons. Bear with me. There's a lot of stuff on. Right. So it's this thing that I'm moving. But yeah, that's what's rotating.
Okay, I was looking at something's moving and I couldn't tell you what image that was. All right, cool.
There's a lot of sleight of hand happening here. One thing that's really nice, I would say, about After Effects is a lot of your Photoshop and Adobe shortcuts work the same.
Good.
So Command Z is undo in Illustrator, and it is undo in Photoshop. And I think After Effects, you can go backwards 50 times. So like,
I hope you never have to do that, by the way.
But I have.
It happens.
It happens.
Oh yeah, it happens. There are times when you're like, oh man, and you got to go back.
Not 50 times though, man.
I've never counted, but I've hit that button a lot.
Oh God.
And sometimes it's stopped, and I've been like, oh man, I lost that thing I did. So.
But yeah, like.
So go ahead and can you play out that reveal again? I just wanted to see something.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. And all right, cool. And it's
Yeah,
only like two different.
That's all it does. But just
go out and come back in. Okay.
The customizing and stuff is like, basically this is the panel that editors would see.
Mm-hmm.
So I can like invert it, and then it's in the custom colors. I can take the background on and off. And basically I wanted the text capped at 45 characters for if the background is on, because it's supposed to be a shorter like bit of text. And if the background is off, I think it is capped at 65.
Hey, dumb question. If you got a template out, template question. And you said that you could determine how much copy you wanted to allow in that space. Could you change it?
Yeah, so up here, it says enter text here. So I could be like, hello world, here's some text.
Mm-hmm.
And it changes on here.
And I often wondered, like, could you add, like, say I wanted to have more space allowed for longer text?
Yes.
Would that mess up your animation a lot, or what?
So you would not be able to customize that on like the Premiere side. You could only customize that in my template in After Effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, again, this is like, it's all sleight of hand. This is what is stopping the text.
Gotcha.
Right? So you have this layer and it's invisible, but like this is the thing that stops it.
Okay.
That's actually a problem, and I have to fix that. It shouldn't be able to do 2 lines. Issue for later. But essentially when this is off, you can see it still cuts off the text right there. So that's the thing that I'm creating the cap with. It's like a pretty analog way to do it. People that are really good at After Effects, like far better than I am, After Effects is built on JavaScript. So you put expressions and code in there to tell After Effects to do certain things. Like this is telling it, here I have a drop-down menu. And if I click this option on the drop-down menu, it sets my text to all caps. That's what that one is telling it to do.
Do you ever mess with that stuff at all, or you just kind of leave it as is?
Yeah, it's a necessary evil. It makes me like want to tear my hair out. It is like not for the faint of heart, like would not recommend, but there's also like so much money in it.
Like, I would figure so, yeah.
If you're an expert in this, you can charge like a $700, $800 day rate to build templates for people.
Nice.
So
I will respect my templates a lot more now. No, because anytime I see code, I know basic HTML. Well, no, I know a lot of HTML. So that was enough code in my life right there. And when I see the, pretty much like you said, pop the hood on this, I'm like, ugh, everything about that is cringeworthy. Okay. So just so they know, so they can see, because I think we have varying levels on here. Can I pull up some stuff maybe from your website or something? Because I remember that before I was peeking at like some of your animations. Do you have any faves?
All right. So this is my portfolio site. And this is my reel. And it's supposed to give people like a taste of the type of animation that I do in like a minute or less. Yeah, so that is sponsored by the terrible summer of 2020 with the helicopters overhead. So I decided I would like theme my reel as a garbage fire. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Like she made a dumpster fire, but it was a fancy, like, you know, do a dumpster fire, but, you know, do it with flair.
But like pretty, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh. So, I guess break down, like just stop on whatever your favorite one in there was. I just want you to kind of break down what is in what we see. Cause I think we just kind of got used to just seeing really awesome graphics and not knowing how it works.
So like, my reel is complicated. Like it is hundreds of layers. Like I won't open it on a laptop because it's like too much.
Even with like an external drive or something, you're just like, I'm not doing this here.
Yeah, After Effects and the Creative Suite in general, it takes a lot of RAM, and a laptop is just not powerful enough unless you have like a gaming one.
Gotcha.
So yeah, let's say this shot right here. So I like made this helicopter through like in Photoshop, right?
So I think this collage or something. That's what I thought. Like that was like mosaic looking.
Right. So yeah. I think this was like 20 or 30 layers, but essentially I took like a real helicopter from like one of like Uber's, and I just layered different paper textures on top of it, like in the outline, and then I changed like how dark or light each piece was to mimic the shadows of it. And so it kind of gives you this kind of like hand cut collage-y feel. Collage is definitely one of my specialties. This is a real shipping container. And then my name I put on it, that's just
a font, right?
That's just like a font that I use like a blending mode. Are you guys familiar with blending modes? Is everybody?
I do not. Only thing I know is maybe changing the transparency on some copy or on an image. That's all I know.
Okay.
So it's a blending mode.
So blending mode is a thing that you can do in both, I guess in Illustrator, After Effects, and Photoshop.
Okay.
And it essentially, it's like similar to opacity, but it's just like different effects. So like there's blending modes, like if you use linear burn, that's a blending mode that just takes out the dark part of whatever image you're working on. So if there's white, the white will be gone.
Okay.
So a lot of people use it for like document highlights, because then just the words of the document will pop out and then the white of the document will disappear and you'll already have your background.
I really like the fact that since you have the shipping container there, it's like you do have like a lot of texture going on already with that image, and then you put your name on top of that. That's pretty cool. I guess that's all like pretty much the image in itself, as the helicopter is giving you most of your motion in this, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think I also have a looping background going. That's like a paper texture.
Oh, hit the play. I forgot.
Yeah. So it's like it's pretty subtle, but essentially I don't know. I just don't like things to be still. It's a personal preference, but
No, I mean, it makes it hard to look away. Can you go to the Coretta Scott King part that you had in there?
sure, it's towards the end.
It was like I think you had like words behind her and words in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to see the different things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. All right, so you had I think the 1, 2. I know you said hundreds of layers. I'm just trying to see if I can identify like what else is going on there. So you have the image of her, I guess at somebody's microphone or whatever. What was the connection with that Jeff Sessions?
This was when Jeff Sessions was first like added to whatever high court, and he was like, Martin Luther King would have loved me, and we were all like,
oh gosh,
psych, sir.
Okay,
obviously not.
Okay.
So this is just literally her word for word the letter that she wrote to the Supreme Court saying Jeff Sessions is the worst.
Okay.
Let me.
You know when I see stuff like this a lot, I had a favorite show that doesn't seem to be making more seasons anytime soon, but Adam Ruins Everything. They were big on this type of animation where, you know, you had a real cutout of a person, lassoed out or whatever, and just kind of making still items move, because it's often black and white back in the day and we didn't have the images. So I love that whole like look to it. You guys really have some awesome work here. I don't want to be the only voice talking too much, but I did have questions. And then I also did a lot of this for my members who said they wanted to have this. So I'm always curious as to what did the requests come, like, you know how people always are spitballing ideas, say, hey, I want it to look like, and they're not very exact. So after you guys put all this labor in, do you guys ever get hit with the, that's not what I was looking for?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, all the time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in any creative industries like doesn't get critiques about something. But
Gotcha.
Usually to save yourself from that inevitable approach, you know, sometimes we'll design things without animating them, or I'll design things without
save your time a little bit.
Yeah, like, I'll make stills or make a bunch of you know, design it in Photoshop or Illustrator, and then if they like it, take that file into After Effects or recreate it in After Effects at that point, and then put animations in there. Yeah, but storyboarding stuff out for bigger clients anyway. Most of the time they're like, I want it this way, and I just shoot it out to them, and they're like, great, and they just love it and call it a day.
Gotcha. So they'll tell you their idea, you'll storyboard it. Do you ever storyboard it with them actively right there? That might take a while.
Usually I don't. Sometimes I might, if it's like the one time I've had to really kind of put effort into it, I actually came with a mood board first. So then they had to pick their colors, and we picked our color palettes and what kind of colors they wanted to use. They had their own font that they wanted to use, so I just took their font. And then they had some elements they wanted to use that I, you know, took from them as well and spiffed up and made them look good. But then after that, I storyboarded it and sent it to them. Like, this is all remote, of course. And they're like, yeah, we like this, we don't like that, blah, 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 change this to that color, so forth and so on. And then I'll animate it, and then they may say, oh, it's going too fast or it's too slow. But usually it's never, you know, I don't like working with people next to me anyway. It's just irky.
It's a creative thing.
Yeah, especially
you're in my creative space.
Yeah, you're in my creative space. You know, your breath is humming and whatever, and just all of that. And I need to listen to my music. So I've actually, no, I'm not gonna say that story.
What do y'all listen to? No, now that you brought that up, what do you listen to when you're creating?
Well, not the music part. It was a job I had that it lasted literally 3 weeks.
But I am here on the music part, because I am big on lo-fi, and if it's not lo-fi, I might listen to.
I need something loud and distracting. So it's usually heavy metal, a little bit of screaming music. Oh yeah, I need something that's just extremely loud, extremely distracting.
Arielle, what do you listen to when you're creating? You listen to bounce?
Yeah, I'm like bouncing as I animate. If I'm in if I'm like really deep in the zone, like that's
that's
where I am.
So like Big Freedia could possibly be on your list or something.
Yes,
I'm just saying. Okay, it's fine. I mean, we just came off of Mardi Gras. Okay, so we're picking up tips from you guys, what to listen to.
What to listen to?
I'm serious. I don't think to listen to metal. I might try it. I need something that doesn't have words to it. So I'll do bounce beats, but I just won't do like anything that I can decipher the words.
Yeah, that's some music is like that. Otherwise, I'll, start singing.
Bossa Nova is really great. because
Okay.
like a lot of it is in Portuguese. So
Mhm.
it's like, it's just in the
It's just
background
noise,
anyway. It
yeah.
doesn't really matter.
Or
Gotcha.
anime music. My wife listens to a lot of anime music.
Oh,
Like,
is she a designer too?
No. She's getting her PhD though, and when I come home and I hear a bunch of Japanese in the air, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, don't bother her. She's grinding it.
She's grinding, yeah.
Grinding.
Okay. Also about storyboarding, how much to give your bosses before you go too far deep into this, because that's smart. That could be wasted energy. You want to use, especially if you have to do this often. I was looking at like a lot of Arielle's designs because I mean, it's kind of like you guys are like two ends, or not two ends, but you have two very good creative styles. And I like the layered collage feel. It gives me a very, I'm getting all artsy fartsy here, but it gives me a little like Romare Bearden feel to it a little bit.
So this is maybe going to ruin it for you.
Why? They told you to do that?
I developed this style to avoid copyright.
Hey. Because you're laying on top of it to the point
right, because like I'm creating a collage, like so I can fair use more.
Yeah, I wanted to give Lance a chance to say goodbye to everybody. He's from the Visual Task Force.
Hey everybody, I'm Lance Washington, Director of Photography in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm actually the person who's, as funny as it sounds, teaching folks how to use After Effects. And I know very little about it. So right now I'm basically teaching them, this is how you manipulate the template.
See, I'm not the only one.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I put in the chat something I was asking y'all to do real quick. Like I said, unfortunately I have to take off to go to an assignment, but the Visual Task Force is here for everybody. Look us up. We have our video portfolio review that folks can sign up for. So, get your stuff critiqued by some of the best in the country. And from that, I'll just leave that there. And thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And hope to see all of y'all soon. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you so much. I want to show everybody, in case you do want to get your video portfolio reviewed, they have it on their website as well as on, I think, the NABJ website as well. And it's a good variety of everything from still photography, graphic design, and video. Well, I want to thank everybody that showed up today. I want to see if I can possibly give you guys a glimpse into our upcoming programming. Yeah, let me share this one. I had to make sure I had the right one up first. We have a couple of things coming up, one for BABJ, of course, one also for the Visual Task Force. So open, share. So again, the portfolio reviews are going to be in April. And again, this is a great opportunity to have some managers on top of that, not just professionals, but managers. So there's opportunities for work. Look at your still photography, videos, and graphic design. And here in Baltimore, next Saturday, we're going to have a panel on covering crime responsibly in the city. And responsibly is the key part because we all know that many times that part gets abused. We're going to have Phil Jackson from The Sun, as well as Lisa Snowden McCrae from the Baltimore Beat. She's the editor over there. Barry Sims from BAL, and TJ Smith, who was a PIO in Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County, and he also ran for mayor. So this should be very interesting. And please note that our entire panel are from Maryland, with only, I think, maybe one that's not from Baltimore. So we're trying to be responsible and very intentional about who you're having on here. With that said, I thank you all very, very, very much for showing up tonight. I appreciate y'all so much for just being around, and I hope all your questions have been answered. If not, you can probably reach out to our panelists on their social media accounts. I did link to their LinkedIn, so it's a good way to network as well as ask them those pressing questions, which I know I probably will if I get lost in a MOGRT file. So thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Anytime.